Hello everyone, my name is Quang. My age name is Tommy. I'm 9 years old. Today I will talk about science in lesson 81 in 3rd grade. And first, I will review about the food chain. And here's the all food chain started with sunlight energy. Then the producer would be a plant, and the consumer is a type of herbivore that eats the plant. And the next consumer can be a carnivore or an omnivore. And the next consumer is a carnivore. And the top predator is most likely a carnivore. And here are the decomposers, the mushrooms. And they help break down the top predator to put back nutrients back to the soil. And I will have some words to remember in our reading today. Prairie, grassland, grazer, rodent, and water source. Today I will read about land habitats. As we are traveling throughout the world, you would see that most of the habitats are land habitats. And today we are going to learn about a habitat called the prairie. And a prairie is a flat grassland. And you might think of the African savanna for its lions, zebras, and giraffes. But you will find very different animals in the Great Plains of North America. And a grassland have a name. The first word is grass, and it means so because a grassland has more grass than any other habitats. And a prairie will usually have 4 seasons. And then I will read about God's plan for space and shelter on the prairie. And God have created the animal on the prairie to do its job. There are big animals like bison, or another name called the buffalo, which has room to roam in the large prairie. And as it goes, it will push the seed into the soil so that the grass would be always there enough for them to eat. And they also have another thing that helps the prairie. They will cut the grass with their feet and cut the grass with their teeth, and the grass will have another chance to make this new. And there's other animals that live in the prairie too, like the prairie chicken, or sometimes they are called the grouse, but sometimes called the prairie chicken. And we will also learn about a prairie dog, which makes a barking sounds in warning. So that is where it got its name. And then I will read about God's plan for food and water on the prairie. And grasshopper and locusts eat the plants. And that is how the food chain begins. Then other small rodents such as prairie dogs eat the grasshopper. Then the coyote or the king snake or the hawk is the top predator of the prairie. They eat the extra rodents because too many rodents can spread disease. And the king snake eat other snakes and also other rodents. And these land animals need water, so the water source will always be clean because of water runoff and the water cycle. And first, I will read the terms to remember. Prairie, a flat grassland of North America. Grassland, a large open area of grass used by grazing animals. Grazer, an animal that depends on grass for food. Rodent, a small mammal such as a mouse. Water source, where animals find drinking water. Land habitats, if we are going to travel around the world, we could find a variety of habitats because there are different climates. We would find dry habitats and wet habitats. Some habitats are cold while others are very hot. Habitats come in all sizes. Even a leaf could be a habitat for a microscopic creature or a tiny insect. We will learn about some very large habitats. The prairie. A prairie is a flat grassland. Grassland have more grasses than any other kind of plant, so they are large and open. There are few trees or larger plants. You might have learned about the grasslands of the African savanna with its lions, giraffes, and zebras. However, you will find very different animals in the Great Plains of North America. The prairie of North America are in temperate climates. That means the weather is not too hot or too cold. Most of the prairie has 4 seasons. God's plan for space and shelter on the prairie. At the first glance, a prairie seems to be a poor place to find shelter, but God has given animals living their instincts that help them find places to live. Some animals migrate from place to place to find food or have babies. Other animals burrow underground to make homes or hide in tall prairie grass. A prairie has many grazers or animals that depend on grasses for food. Do you remember what we call animals that eat only plants? Grazers or herbivores. Some grazers of the prairie are cattle, herds, and bison. A long time ago, a great many bison roamed the prairie. You might remember a bison by another name. They are called buffalo. Grazers such as bison traveled in herds for protection. Large grazers are very important to grassland habitats. As they roam, their hooves not only press plant seeds into the soil so that the seed can grow, but also break up the soil so it can absorb more rainwater. Grazing animals also help the prairie by cutting the grass with their teeth. These help the grass plants to grow stronger and give the roots a chance to make new soil. Pollinators such as butterflies and bees help the prairie as well. Each grass plant has tiny flower. Pollinators help the grasses make new seeds. This causes the prairie to grow again each spring. A grass is sometimes called a prairie chicken. Its coloring helps to blend in with the prairie grass. Where do you think this bird makes its nest. Prairie dogs are actually rodents of the American plains. Prairies. Rodents are small mammals like rats, mice, and beavers. These rodents burrow under the prairie. Prairie dogs make underground burrows that connect with other prairie dog homes. These burrows are called prairie dog tails. They can stretch out for miles. And here's a picture of a bison or a buffalo. And here is a picture of a grouse or the prairie chicken. And you might think that it looks different. And here is a picture of prairie dogs. And I will read. The Bible says He caused the grass to grow for the cattle and herb for the service of man, that He may bring forth food out of the earth. Psalm 114. God's plan for food and water on the prairie. Grasshoppers, locusts, and other insects are an important part of the prairie food chain. Birds, amphibians, reptiles, and small mammals all depend on them for food. So many locusts could eat all the prairie grasses and their other producers. That is why God created other animals to eat them. Prairie dogs and other small animals of the prairie eat insects, grass, and other plants. Prairie dogs are an important part of many food chains on the prairie. They are the main food source for the many predators, such as falcons, eagles, coyotes, badgers, and ferrets. Prairie dogs protect each other from predators by standing on their hind legs and sounding a sharp bark. A coyote is the top predator of the prairie. It usually hunts small animals, but can sometimes hunt larger ones, such as a deer. Because the coyote is a top predator, its job is important. It helps keep the prairie balanced and healthy by eating extra mice and other small rodents. Hawks also hunt rodents. Too many rodents can spread disease. The prairie king snake is another important part of the prairie food chain. It eats rodents and other snakes. Land animals need water source. Rivers, streams, lakes, and ponds all provide fresh water for the prairie animal. Do you remember how water cycle and fresh water runoff keep these water sources fresh? Fresh water is what the land animals bring. Look at these prairie animals. Can you classify them? The hawk is a bird. The king snake is a reptile. A prairie dog is a mammal. A buffalo is a mammal. The monarch is an insect or an invertebrate. A rabbit is a mammal. A pronghorn is a mammal. Prairie chicken is a bird. A toad is an amphibian. A coyote is a mammal, and a locust is an insect. And I will do the comprehension check. Fill in. Write the correct answers. A prairie is a flat land in North America. An herbivore is an animal that depends on grasses for food. Prairie dogs are rodents or small mammals of the prairie. Land animals use rivers, streams, and lakes as a water source. And that is all I want to talk in this science lesson today. Thank you for your listening and watching. Goodbye.